You should know by now that the future of Africa lies in agriculture. And that's why on this channel, we are coming up with lots of videos enlightening you on the agricultural potential of Africa. In this video, I am going to be giving you 5 most profitable agricultural business ideas that you could start in Africa this 2024 and make millions for yourself. Some of the products I am going to be talking here about are products that are easily exported worldwide. And you know, export is one of those things that triggers the boom of an economy. So if you're a goal-getter out there aiming to become the next millionaire in Africa, this video is actually for you. So please hurry to get a pen and paper to take notes. You can also just save this video to watch later in order for you to come back to it whenever you want to make good use of it. This is because I can assure you, my goal-getters, that this video is very rich and concentrated. So please pay keen attention to the details. That said, let's get straight into the points. Do you know the reason why I chose to start with honey? This is because honey is that one product that never decays or rots. So honey could actually last as many years as possible, and it keeps getting better and better over time. So what more product is best for a continent like Africa, wherein we often suffer from seasonal cultivation and goods perishing all the time? So if you are one of those people who want to invest in something tangible and sustainable, honey farming is definitely that business you need to invest in. So listen carefully as I give you the key things you need to have at the back of your mind if you want to embark on honey cultivation. So the first thing you need to know is that you will need to exercise a little bit of patience, because once a beehive is set, it basically takes 6 to 8 months to attain maturity or to be ready for harvest. The second thing you need to take note of is the climatic conditions in which honey is cultivated. From the setting of the beehive to processing it to produce nectar, and finally to produce honey, and finally storing it, the climatic conditions need to be favorable. And honey mostly does well in cold environments or warm to cold environments. And the best time to harvest your honey is from July to September. And most people even let it sit till mid-September. A liter of honey in Africa basically costs about $7. And you know, the more beehives you have, the more honey you are going to be making. And you know how much Africans use honey. Just the fact that Africans treat themselves with lots of herbs, and some of those herbs are ground to mix with honey before taking the treatment, and some of the liquids they drink are also mixed with honey. The beauty industry equally uses honey for face masks and body scrubs and many others. Honey is also well consumed, and some people use honey as a replacement for sugar, especially here in Cameroon, where we have the Oko white honey that has lots of virtues and has no smell at all. And this honey is actually the most expensive in the world. And a liter of white honey costs about $16 to $20. So honey cultivation in Africa is something that you should take seriously if you want to be among the upcoming millionaires in Africa. Next on our list is cashew farming. This is one of the best businesses here because both the fruit and the nuts are highly treasured. Cashew is a beautiful apple-like fruit that is very sweet and is highly consumed in West African countries and also in India. There is also a local drink made from the cashew fruit, which is so tasty and that people love so much. And as concerns the cashew nut, it is highly treasured and very, very expensive. Cashew nuts are eaten as snacks, in salads, and in many other things, as soups, as spread on bread or other cereals, and also it is highly exported. And do you know that a ton of cashew nut could actually cost up to $2,000 in West Africa at wholesale price? If you didn't know, the cashew market size actually reached $7 billion in 2022 and is estimated to reach $10.5 billion by the year 2031, with a compound annual growth rate of 4.6%. And the tree alone can produce up to 600 nuts. So imagine having a plantation of cashew. Do you know that the profit margin of cashew is actually 35 to 40%, which is phenomenal. Once you plant your cashew, it takes just 3 to 5 years to mature, and you start harvesting and make good money for yourself. The cashew plant does well in tropical areas, So if you are in East or West Africa, you are good to go when it comes to cashew farming, especially if you are in countries like Ivory Coast. For Ivory Coast leads, followed by Tanzania and Nigeria. So if you're in countries like Nigeria, the cashew production is a good target for you. This is because you can actually export to countries like India and Vietnam. You also need to know that sandy soil is ideal for cashew, and also you need to practice a sustainable amount of irrigation in order for you to make better yield. So if you are living in Kogi, Oyo, Edo, Enugu, Anambra, and Imo State, cashew production is definitely what you should go for. People love cashew so much for the fact that it is rich in zinc, protein, and fiber, and it's also very tasty. I even find it so delicious that I'll literally choose cashew over peanut any day, anytime. The good thing with cashew cultivation is the fact that it might be labor intensive, but it is very lucrative, thereby making the hazard worth it. So one thing you should know is that the cashew nut actually has a lifespan of 45 years, but the most productive years is actually the first 20 years of its existence. And one key thing you need to also know is the fact that sunlight is crucial when it comes to cashew production. So locate your farm in a place where they can have at least 6 hours of sunlight per day. And generally, the cashew will produce from June to December of every year. So cashew is obviously a delicacy validated by many. And coupled up with the fact that it's so expensive, I don't know what you are waiting for to embark on cashew production. Now, next on our list is snail farming. Yes, what we commonly call in Cameroon, Congo meat. When it comes to snail farming, the first thing you need to do is decide on the type of species you are going to be rearing depending on your area. So in Africa, we've got the most common snail, which is the giant African land snail, the common periwinkle snail, the Roman snail, and the garden snail. And among them all, the giant African land snail is the most famous and most consumed by Africans. So if your target audience is actually local consumption, you know which one to go for. Generally, there are actually 3 main types of snails. We've got the freshwater snails, the land snails, and the seawater snails. So you basically are going to be choosing according to which one suits your environment best. Snails are actually easy to cater for because they basically feed on the same things that we as humans feed on. They feed on fruits and vegetables, which are found in our homes already. They commonly feed on things like lettuce, cucumber, tomatoes, and apples. And to market your snails, you could go closer to people like chefs or supermarkets and let them know that you grow snails. You could also supply to women who sell in the local markets or dry or smoke it and export to the diaspora abroad, for they love and miss African snails a lot. Bamboo cultivation couldn't be left out of the list because it is actually related to real estate. And you know now in Africa, anything that has to do with real estate generates lots of money. So unlike what some of you might think that bamboo is a tree, bamboo is actually a warm weather grass. Yes. And let me quickly list some of the things bamboos are used for. Bamboos are used for scaffolding, that's decking of houses. It's also used for the manufacturing of chairs, plates, spoons, cups. Bamboos are equally used for paper and luxury folding. So bamboo has got lots of uses that makes it very, very necessary for the African society. So the first thing you need to do if you want to embark on bamboo production is to choose the right bamboo according to your location or your target clients. Bamboo can actually be gotten from the cultivation of wild growth, and they are very eco-friendly, for it is actually grass. And you should also be very careful when you are choosing the type of soil you want to cultivate your bamboo on, because bamboo does well on moist soil that aren't wet or swampy. So locate your bamboo away from wet or swampy areas. Also locate it very far away from ponds, for constant wetness will instead hinder its growth. So you could just water your bamboo from time to time to keep it as wet as necessary. So the best bamboos you could go for is clumping bamboo, and go for those that can attain 20 to 30 feet of height. So people love bamboo so much because they are actually cheap, alright? Bamboo are cheaper than the plank that people will use in scaffolding or decking, and they are equally very strong and solid. They are more resistant than plank, and they are equally safer. This is because they stay intact no matter the weight put put on them. Now, for the cultivation of bamboo, if you're in countries like Kenya or Cameroon, bamboo is a very good business for you. Now, next on our list is mushroom production. So we have a video with details on mushroom on the channel that I recommend you watch immediately after this one. But let me quickly brief you on certain things that you need to know when it comes to mushroom farming. So the first thing you need to know is that if you are farming mushroom with the intent of exporting it, you should go for the oyster mushroom. But if it is for Africa, you could go for the portobello mushroom. You need to also know that mushroom is labor intensive. So you will need to hire labor or employ workers to do the job for you, especially if you don't have the time to dedicate to your mushroom business. So if you want to produce mushroom in large quantities and export, you would definitely need to employ people to help you do the work, or you just can't cope doing it alone. That said, hope you loved this video and thanks for watching it, as I will see you on my